Hey lovelies, welcome to the Doghouse with me, Ria Bow, and him, Mike Phillip from American Hook Radio in Canada. Hi Mike, how you doing? Volume. Can't hear you.
Hello and hello lovelies.
We nearly got it again. It's just one of those things, isn't it? Hiya Hugh, hiya Gary, who else we got? Hiya Jack, Justin, hiya Kelly, hi everybody. Welcome to the show. We were on time. We nearly got it right. One day we'll do this. Do you know what I mean? You just never really know how things are going to go. I hope you're all well and thank you for joining us. We love you being here. And I'm just going to start off with the weather. Let's have a quick look what's going on around the world. And then I'll tell you what's going on in Facebook in a minute. Alberta -1, Toronto -9, England +6, Nice south of France +9, Malaga +15, Camrose +2, Cairo, Egypt 19, Rio de Janeiro 27, Rome 12, Cape Town 17, Moscow 2, Seoul, Korea -11, Mumbai +24, Tokyo +3, Sydney +21, and Oslo, Norway -2. Hey guys, I hope you're all going well. Quick story about the Facebook page. We started it not yesterday, but the evening before. We had a few people coming. We had about an hour or two where it was just confirmed friend request. I can't say it. Confirm. And in a day we got 320 so far. So, and they're pretty much, if there's any of you from India and the Middle East watching, drop by and say hi. That would be lovely. But Facebook, 320 in a day. What happened? I don't know what happened, Mike. How are you? I can't hear you.
I've got a mute button that I always turn on when I'm not talking, so thanks for reminding me. I need to pay more attention. But I'm doing good, and I got an email from Susan in Rock Creek, BC. She wanted a copy of Ho Canada that I was offering last show. By the way, everybody, that offer still stands. If you send me an email at americanuckradio@gmail.com, I will send you a PDF copy of Ho Canada, written in 1965. And this should be required reading in every single school in Canada. So, Ria, you got some marriage proposals, I hear.
I did. I had 3.
3 marriage proposals. Wow.
I did. How nuts is that? Hi, Surfer 4. Sorry, I missed you. I'm looking up there again and it's really small and I've got my messages down here, so I just got to get used to it. You know, I'm still, there's a lot going on here. Hey, Surfer 4. Surfer 4's with us. Thanks for sending that to me, Mike.
No problem, Kelly. Yeah, Kelly too.
Yeah,
no
thanks
problem.
For joining us, Kelly. Yeah, so Facebook, what happened? I woke up yesterday morning. There was about 35 pending friend requests. I hit the friend request, sort of making a coffee in the morning like you do. My eyes are barely open. And then they just started coming in. And before I knew it, within an hour, it was up to about 250. And then over through the night this morning, we're up to about 310, 320. So it just kind of, I don't know what happened. I know one of the platforms we go out on, which I think is called YouNow, streams out to India and a bit of Indo-Asia. So maybe it's that, or I don't know what it was, to be honest, Mike. But three marriage proposals, yes, and sort of in broken English, semi-sexy pic. And
if I can't get one, you're not going to get one, okay?
No, that's right. That's the way the world works, right? Yeah, just amazing messages from a different culture and the way they go about things and stuff like that. And just people are immediately asking, are you married and stuff like that? And if not, will you marry me? I just type back, yeah, go on then. So it didn't really
Only if you own a textiles factory.
That's right. And without many morals. That's kind of the way it works, right? Mike, right. What's caught your eye? What's going on in your world?
Well, speaking of Facebook, I found an article on Maclean's Magazine, which is a total rag, but It's interesting just the same. You probably never heard of it outside of Canada. But they're worried about Facebook safeguarding our democracy. Okay? Now, the gist of the article, yeah, I know. The gist of the article is that Facebook holds undue influence over foreign elections, being a California company that is publicly traded. They have a team of people that decide on fake news stories, what's real, what's not. They only have one moderator per million users, so it's almost impossible to keep up with. But what was funny about it is that their big concern is that too many conspiracy and fake news service stories, like, say, from, American Knock Radio, let's just say, are getting on Facebook and influencing elections, while not enough people are listening to the New York Times and the Washington Post. That was McLean's big beef with this. But basically what they're saying is that if there's false stories being spread around either maliciously or just out of ignorance by somebody, say an opposition political member or party, that by the time a complaint is filed with Facebook, it's up to a team of administrators at Facebook in a foreign country to decide if that story about a candidate or party in Canada is fake. And by the time they come to that decision, it gets sent off to the Philippines, where it's actually enacted. So, they're worried. You remember there was this whole thing with Russian bots on Facebook got Donald Trump into the White House? But it is a real concern that Facebook does have huge influence and that they could sway elections. And basically, Facebook has said, not in so many words, don't worry, we got it. Don't worry. It's okay. We're cool. So, does social media hold undue influence over populations in foreign countries and their elections? Rhea, what are your thoughts?
I think initially I just think, how can it not? Undue, I don't know about undue. People talk, right? That's what we do. That's what we're doing right now. And people, there's that journalist, I wouldn't say in everybody, but if you was living in a village and you saw something good or bad or indifferent going on round the corner, you wouldn't be surprised if you come back in the village and kind of told everybody. So it's kind of isn't it sort of like a human trait to pass it on, I think. Kelly says too many people trying to get the truth out there, laughing out loud. There's a few truthers, right? And we could talk about the truth and the study of truth called allotheology if you ever wanted to, but it'd probably bore you to death. But it is super fascinating. So if you ever want to talk about allotheology, Mike, or anybody in there, let me know. But yeah, undue? No, I don't think undue. People make their own minds up. If they're a self-learning person, they go out there and they get informed the best they can. So I think I saw the Facebook article, or some of the Facebook article, and I'm just realising when I read out those Australian stats of Facebook that 1 in 2 Australians check their Facebook daily. I wonder if that's reflective of the rest of the world. I don't know. So perhaps Facebook really is that powerful, Mike.
Well, Surfer 4 agrees that they do have an undue influence over elections, and I can see it. I remember my family in the States. I was getting into arguments with them on Facebook back when I was on it regularly, and we kind of came to the conclusion that, they figured I was mentally handicapped, and I thought the same way about them, because I didn't think, boys should be in the girls' bathroom, but it was a big argument, and it actually really drove a wedge into our family, where if we saw each other face to face, we probably wouldn't have argued about it, but since it was somewhat anonymous, it's okay to say the worst possible things to each other. There was another ex Facebook head, or high up in the company, that has just come out and said, yeah, Facebook is scrambling your brain. If you go over to American.radio.com, there was another one that came out a few months ago. The story's still sitting there, and there's a picture of a fried egg, and the headline says, "This is your brain on Facebook." But basically his worry is that it's rewiring the way that we interact with each other socially, in that people live for that little shot of dopamine from getting a like or a heart or a thumbs up. And they figure they've got some kind of legitimacy with what they're doing, because it's so easy to click like, and you don't even have to read an article. You can just read the headline and infer that you know what's going on and click like, which lends a phony legitimacy to it. Rhea.
Totally. What can you say about it? I mean, when we're doing this, right, what is it, 75% of transactions between people is body language, and there's loads of stuff going on. And I get messages from people with a smiley face saying good morning with a smiley face. They're not smiling. Do you know what I mean? It's kind of, it's not necessarily representative of the here and now, but it's kind of the world we live in. And I'd point people to that book, Neil Postman, Amusing Ourselves to Death, that was written in 1981. Check that out. And that was basically it. It's the sudden rush and all that kind of thing. Hi, Phoebe. Thanks for joining us. You said you would. You're a star. So what do you do? It's the world we live in. I mean, the very first video we did for the Doghouse, right? And if you're public, Mike, I know Mike, we get dissed from time to time, don't we? It's just the way of the world.
Oh, yeah.
If you go public, you're sort of putting your neck on the chopping board, right? And the 2 golden rules to start an argument online is 1, voice an opinion, 2, wait. Because someone's going to disagree with it, Anyway, we put the first video out that was purely test run. It was unarranged with a friend, da-di-da-di-da. And I put it out there. And because it's a live stream going across 14, 15 different platforms around the world, we give it a minute for all the streams to start. That's what the music's for, Post it. Got this message, a couple of days later, from this guy that opened the message and said to me, WTF, right? You lazy cunt. You could have edited out the gap at the start, right? And that was the opening message, right? So I went to his profile page, and he was just a hater. Do you know what I mean? And there's haters out there, and that's the way it is. I just don't really do the hating thing. If they're going to do if they're getting fueled from hatred, they're on the Death Star with Darth Vader, aren't they, Mike?
No doubt. By the way, I just sent you a smiley face in the chat.
Nice.
Just as an example.
Yeah, totally.
Surfer 4, your brain on kitten videos. Yeah. That's another thing. People... That was one of the reasons I left Facebook, actually. I couldn't stand the fact that people wanted to document every aspect of their life on Facebook. I'd see people posting things like, I had eggs this morning. And I'm thinking, why would you say that? Surfer 4 says, no matter what you say, someone gets offended. Yeah, I found a way around that, Surfer. I started identifying as a... gay, black, Jewish, French-speaking, quadriplegic woman. Nobody can touch me.
No, I mean, just latch onto a minority group of somewhere, and you'll be fine. Hugh says Bitcoin just hit 21,935 Canadian. What is it at the bottom of the screen here, guys? 16,398 in US dollars. It's definitely hit some resistance, but it's going on the major Chicago exchange on the 18th, and I'm just waiting to buy in. I've got an allocation. It's just sitting there waiting, for the pullback. And I'm in it anyway. But as soon as that pulls back, I'm going into some more and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I mean, what can you say about social media? I opened up a Facebook page because someone said it was a good idea, right? And turned out that 300 people later in a day, there they are. I don't know what happened. It was a bizarre thing, I tell you. For an hour and a half, I was just pressing a confirm button, 10 at a time, then 6 at a time, then, yeah, just crazy stuff. But that Facebook thing, the selfie thing, and all that, what do you make of that? I mean, it's up to them, isn't it? I don't want to diss them for doing what they want to do, but it's up to me whether I want to view it or not. The different platforms have different styles of approach, don't they? So, yeah, I kind of don't mind. It's kind of a bit of a bubble, but you know, when I've been dealing with some of the Asian guys, they're doing it all the time. You know, just a thumbs up and a couple of words, "Are you married?" and just stuff like that. And so I'm okay with it, Mike. We don't have to spend time with it, do we?
No, not really. I would like to say this, though. Human nature is that a lot of people will almost break their neck just to get a little bit of...
Yeah, totally.
I mean, look at this kid in China that takes selfies of himself climbing these tall buildings, right, and putting himself in precarious positions. He just killed himself, fell, what was it, 62 stories? You know, but he was getting a lot of clicks. And this is spreading, I guess it's getting big in Russia. And, you know, people will just about kill themselves to get clicks. So, I mean, you know, vanity, whatever.
Maybe it's cheaper than therapy.
I
Do you know what I mean? Go and do something, get
suppose.
loads of likes. Go, yeah, I'm okay now. I don't need to see a therapist. Everybody thinks I'm all right. Yeah, I mean...
Kelly Jacobson says it all depends on how you choose to use the platform. You're right, Kelly. You're right. I use it to post American Rock Radio episodes, and that's about it. I get private messages from fans of the show. They send me material. I don't go on and talk to my family because I don't want to screw it up. So, you know, you're totally right, Kelly.
Yeah, and
I agree.
Yeah, I agree, Kelly. But again, we can vote with our feet. Well, we used to vote with our feet, didn't we? But now you can vote with a click of a mouse. You don't have to be there.
Yeah, you know what though? Listen, this is interesting. There was a candidate in, I believe it was Colorado, that was running for Senate, and he had said that if he got into the Senate, if he had to vote on a bill, he had developed an app for smartphones where his constituents could log in and vote on the bill for him. So it was direct democracy. My friend Chad Alexander is over in Serbia right now. He's been touring all over Eastern Europe, and you know, he also did Western Europe too, but he's been checking out different styles of democracy in that area of the world. And by the way, he loves Serbia. He's in Serbia right now, loves it. He stayed there longer than anywhere else. Apparently, you can smoke in the restaurants still. Think about that. Letting adults act like adults and not regulating every aspect of their life. But anyhow, this guy in Colorado had made this app so that his constituents could vote directly on the bill. He said the only time that he would make a decision on which way to vote is if it was a tie. That sounds like a good idea to me. Direct democracy with the internet. Also, here's my idea. I think that if you run for public office, you should give up a lot of personal freedom. You are a public servant. I think that if you run for office and win, your constituents should be able to go to a website and see exactly what you're doing every minute of the day. Maybe unless you're sleeping, right? But that would get rid of a lot of hanky-panky right there, I think. I don't know. What do you think of what I just said?
Yeah, I think that's nuts. I don't agree with that. I would sooner have trust. I would sooner it worked on the basis of trust than... I mean, we're already all on the TV all the time, aren't we? I go out the door, there's cameras. I'm looking in a camera. Your phone's tracking you. I kind of not the biggest fan of that anyway. And to be that intrusive... Hey, I think... Mike, from what I've just heard from you, you would make an absolutely splendid dictator.
I'm very good at telling people what to do, and I would be a wise and benevolent dictator.
I think you would.
Only a few would get killed. There would be no torture. Death would be immediate. Yeah, I would make a
You
good
would have a
I could grow
harem
little
of bunny
mustache.
rabbits.
Yeah, that's right. Kingdom of the Bunny Rabbits. Well, that would be if my wife was queen, right? So yeah.
What we got here?
Let's not talk about my rabbits. It's embarrassing.
He was getting in a fit yesterday. Sort of, he was doing well though. Let it go, let it go. No, just let it go. Right, okay, what we got? Phoebe. Oh, I'll read it down here. I'm getting tired of all the Trudeau videos. Already know he's a twat. Right, better things to do. I don't need to be reminded every day. Yeah, I'm really wary of the haters, Phoebe. And I learned, I was a chief negotiator for some big companies, and rule one, depending what you want the outcome to be, if you want to make a change of what you want, rule one is don't upset the person that you're trying to negotiate with. If you start by dissing somebody, their shields are going to go up, they'll go defensive. First line of defense is attack, and before you know it, you got two bull-headed people going head first, just butting heads at each other and not really getting anywhere, spending a load of energy that you don't get back. You don't get that day back, that hour back. So rule one of negotiating to persuade somebody of your point of view is don't offend them. You want them to open up and connect and all that kind of stuff. So I'm on board with you there. Morality, what we got? Surfer 4. Morality has gone south, and me too, Phoebe. Morality is a cultural thing, isn't it? And our cultures are being mixed. And obviously that's a whole nother deep hole. We've not even done any news yet, and it's 25 past. Do you think we talk a lot, Mike?
I think we do. So, hey, this is interesting. Surfer 4 and Phoebe both saw a video of a woman breastfeeding her dog on Facebook. See, Facebook is good for something.
That's very San Francisco. I can imagine that. All right, so we won't bitch on about too much here. Right, we whip on to a bit of news. Some DARPA news. We all know DARPA, right?
DARPA, yeah.
DARPA genetic extinction research, a mistake. The US advanced military research body DARPA announced that it will invest tens of millions of dollars into genetic extinction research. While the official aim of this research is said to be fighting harmful insects, there are significant darker speculations about the possible use of such a tool. The Environment Modification Convention explicitly forbids the hostile military use of tools that modify the environment or the ecological system of any foreign country. So they're working on extinction plans, Mike. What do you make of that?
That was actually talked about a long time ago, gathering DNA samples. And in fact, it is said, a blood bank where all newborns' samples are sent to through DARPA, actually. And it is thought that they could tailor make viruses to only hit people with certain genetic dispositions for the purpose of wiping out certain races. Donald Rumsfeld actually talked about this when he was the Secretary of Defense during the Iraq War under George W. Bush. He made statements on genetic warfare. So whether we think it's crazy or not, there are people out there that are openly discussing it and have been. Like I said, this was when Rumsfeld, he wrote a book in which he talked about it. I don't remember the name of the book, but it's out there. You can look it up.
No, totally. It's a DARPA thing, is it? It's all very dark and stuff like that. I just called it. I didn't know who was talking about. This is a recent thing as well, that they're going to get funded to the tunes of tens of millions. And it's the head of Google, or no, not the heads. One of the top people in the research in Google used to be one of the top people in DARPA. So they're kind of on the same platform, and they're doing that ingestible smart pills and everything that track you. And if you've been declared not well.
Well, and here's the other thing too. It used to be that if a gumshoe or a private dick or private eye, whatever you want to call them, Magnum PI, if they, or say a member of the intelligence community, wanted to dig up dirt on you, They had to literally go through your garbage. They had to follow you. They had to put a bug on your car. Those days are over. I heard an ex-Soviet intelligence agent say, it's not fun anymore. I mean, it used to be fun. You had to do these drops where everything was all secret. You left the little, the coin that halved out with a secret message inside of it underneath a drop. That's all gone. All they got to do is go online now, and people willingly lay out their life. So, no fun to be a secret agent anymore. Thanks, Facebook.
Totally. Can you catch Phoebe? Phoebe said, what is DARPA? Do you know what the acronym stands for, Mike?
DARPA? I don't remember.
It's like,
let's look it up right now.
It's a branch of, it's like the secretive branches of the US military that do mad, they experiment with advanced technologies to mess with other countries. What is it, Mike?
Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. And interestingly enough, if you look at their logo, it is a pyramid with an eye in the capstone with a beam going out across the globe.
That is scary.
Yep. The all-seeing eye looking at planet Earth and considering and watching everything that's happening.
Yeah. So yeah, that was it really. They're working on extinction level techniques to, they're saying, wipe out malaria, but the Human Rights Organization has stepped in and gone, woo, 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 because once you develop that, that's not restricted to malaria. It's not just for that. It will be like, it'll have a general use. So it triggered a few alarms. Mike, I've got another story, or do you want to do one?
No, go ahead.
Okay, let me just get my messaging back up. Okay, shock report reveals Pentagon and HUD lost 21 trillion, enough to pay back US national debts. A new report analysing the budgets of both the Department of Defense, DoD, and the Department of Housing and Urban Development found that between 1998 and 2015, these two departments alone lost over $21 trillion in taxpayer funds, which is about $35,000 for every man, woman and child in the US. The shock report was authored by Dr. Mark Skidmore, a professor of economics at Michigan State University, and Catherine Austin Fitz, go Catherine, former Assistant Secretary of Housing. It notes that the missing funds are a direct result of unsupported journal vouchers adjustments made to the department's budget. So they lost 21 trillion and they don't know where it is. You probably know this already though, Mike, don't you?
Oopsie daisy.
Yeah.
Lost 21. Yeah. No, this actually was starting to come to a head right before the United States attacked Iraq. The Pentagon was undergoing an audit, and it was planned to undergo an audit right before 9/11. And Donald Rumsfeld, again, that name keeps coming up. He was at the forefront of that. So the September 11th attacks happened. And all the priorities changed, and so the money is just, poof, gone. But I'd like to say this, too. It's easy to say $21 trillion, kind of rolls off the tongue, but to fathom that many, like to fathom 21 trillion paper clips, or 21 trillion pieces of paper, or 21 trillion of anything, is almost a mind-boggling number to wrap your head around. You can see little diagrams that people have made of 21 or $1 trillion in pallets of dollar bills, and it's mind-boggling. That much money is insane. And when you talk about that, it kind of gets my hackles up, because when you think about it this way, with that much money lost, there's no reason to have a debt. There's no reason for anybody to be on the street. There's no reason for crumbling infrastructure. That money was just stolen. That's all there was to it. They were bringing pallets of cash over to Iran, Afghanistan, Iraq. That was well known. So, I mean, the money went to multiple sources, but it truly is mind-boggling. What were you going to say there, Rhea?
Is the systems that run, the economic systems that run, I just want to pick up on what Hugh said, Mr. Hugh Giles. Hi, Hugh. DARPA controls HARP. It does control HARP, which is the weather modification system. Hugh, did you know that there's a HARP system, or there's talk of a HARP system, off of the Rothschild Ridge in the Antarctica? Did you know that one? That sort of broke about 2 months ago. And if you go on Google Earth, you can kind of see it. There's a HARP system down south that they're sort of saying may have caused all the hurricanes in the US. So there's a bit of that going on. Yeah, within the economic system, Mike, going back to all that money lost, the question is, it's been lost, right? So how did that happen? What, did they ring up and go, well, we ordered pizza? No, I don't think they did that. Do you know what I mean? I don't think they did that. And the second one is, where did it go? The worrying thing is not only that it's gone missing, and I did a video ad of the when it was entered into Congress for the head of the Federal Reserve to answer for it, and they were saying, oh, we're looking at it, but we're not yet there yet, sort of thing. But it's the Fed, right? But within economics, our economic system is called Keynesian, and you get two schools of economics generally, Keynesian and Austrian, and we run on Keynesian. And in Keynesian economics, you can't have zero unemployment. It doesn't exist. So part of the financial model is to have a certain amount of unemployment, because then it gives power to the employers. It's quite straightforward. But another thing with Keynesian as well is that it's made to go boom, bust, boom, bust, boom, bust. It's in its design. And the very fact, when you pick up on that about homeless people and things, Mike, I've thought this ages ago. You know, you get charities looking after these poor, vulnerable people. The very fact that a country needs a charity is just by default saying the government's not doing what it's supposed to be doing. Do you know what I mean? Because if a government...
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, totally. So if a government stopped spending over there to look after its own backyard, there wouldn't be a need for a charity in the first place. God, they must have been rubbing their hands together when they went, yeah, you start a charity, we'll help you do that. Right, I'm going to move on to another one, unless you've got one, Mike.
I was going to post, actually, if you go to Google and put in $1 trillion graphic, it'll take, after we're done with the show here, just do that. And the way that they put out, they show you $1 trillion in $100 bills, it's absolutely insane, that amount of money. We got a question from Night and Day Plumbing Solutions. Do you want me to address that before you go on with your story?
Yeah, I just want to pick up. Yeah, you do that. Just hold it a second. Huge ass said, huge ass.
I got no sound.
You've got no sound from me?
Can't hear you, Rhea.
Guys, can you hear me live?
Oh, there we go. My
can't get
headphone
staff,
jack came
right?
up.
Do you know what I mean? He's only got one button. Right, anyway.
No, it wasn't the button this time. It was the jack.
Oh, okay.
But
okay.
Did you want me to address Night and Day Plumbing Solutions question before you go on to the next story?
I do. I just wanted to bring up, because I said, Hugh, did you know? And he come back, and apparently, yes. He's saying there's over 20 harps out there. So, Hugh, we've got to talk about that, right? You need to bring that in the equation. Over to you, Mike.
All right. Night and Day Plumbing Solutions. Mike, you may know something about this. With the KKK still evident in the southern states of the USA, is there evidence of similar groups or migration of the organization in Canada, re migrants? Gary Kemper, we hear you. Okay. First of all, Night and Day Plumbing Solutions, you have to understand that the Ku Klux Klan is tiny. It's almost non-existent. It almost doesn't exist, okay? Literally. There was a meeting a few years ago. I covered this story on another radio show that I was hosting for Dr. Peter Glidden. There was a Klan rally scheduled to go down. He was in Huntsville, Alabama. And everybody that was there was a Fed from a different agency or law enforcement agency that was going to infiltrate the meeting and figure out what the Klan was up to. Okay? There are Klan members out there, mostly tied to the Democratic Party. The Democratic Party actually started the Klan. Most people don't know that, although it's becoming more common knowledge. But it's almost non-existent. Okay, it's almost non-existent. Now, are there any clan groups in Canada? Well, there were a couple rallies just an hour and a half east of where I live in a town called Provost, Alberta. If you Google that, you'll see it. But I'll tell you what, when these clan rallies went down, I remember watching it on the news, and I know people in Provost. Okay, I've done work there. I used to go there and work on heavy machinery and oil field equipment. When they did the news stories of these clan rallies that were apparently taking place in Provost, these guys looked like they were right out of Central Casting. Okay, they were they looked like wrestlers. They looked like Bam Bam Bigelow in the 90s, like with the cop shades and shaved head. And, you know, one guy was talking to the news camera, and there was a bunch of guys behind him doing this. And it was just ridiculous. You know, it's not like they were having some kind of an intelligent conversation of perpetuation of the white race or you know, saving our species or whatever the case might be. No, it was just a lot of yahoos, and it looked really disorganized and erratic, just yelling racist slogans. And I honestly, Dave Plumbing, I don't think that the Klan is as big of an issue as it's being blown up to be. And interestingly enough, the people that are bringing it up the most are the Democrat Party. And that is called deflecting. When you accuse other people of what you're up to, you're deflecting. Lyndon Baines Johnson was notorious to have said, we'll have blacks in America voting Democrat for the next 1,000 years. Okay? They were going to pose as being their friend. But I'll tell you what, here's the other issue. The Democrat Party has done more to harm black people in the United States of America than the Klan ever did. I mean, look at Democrat-controlled areas like Chicago and New York. Chicago's over 600 homicides this year. So, I mean, you know, things have just flipped around where the KKK has hidden itself in plain sight as the Democratic Party. And I'm going to leave it at that. Go ahead.
Blimey, there you go, folks. How black and white do you want it? There's something going on with the Dems, right? It's all a bit nuts. I don't know where the KKK come from. That took a shift. But good to have you on board, though, night and day. Always good to have you on board. What do we got in the messages before I move on to one?
Oh, and I don't know if Terry Long is still around. I haven't heard the name in a while.
Okay, what else we got? Hugh Jazz, Terry Long, Phoebe. I heard a Terry Long. Okay, right, we're going to move on to another one, guys. Right, here we go. Congress expands Uranium One probe after Senator claims Obama admin misled him over yellow cake exports. Senator John Barrasso is turning up the heat on the Uranium One investigation. Good. Demanding documents from both the Energy Department and the Nuclear Regulatory Commission in both entries. Barrasso wants to find out if he was intentionally misled by the Obama administration about Uranium One being able to export yellowcake uranium out of the United States after the company was acquired by Russia. I find that quite fascinating because aren't we moving into a post-Clinton era? Aren't they I can't help but feel that some powers somewhere went, we've had enough of them, let's throw them under the bus. And I think a uranium one's a good way to start chopping that tree down, Mike. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it's funny because they had to go through a Canadian company to sell that uranium to, what are they called? Rostock, Russia's nuclear agency or company.
Yep.
Anyways, yeah, so this whole Hillary Clinton thing and Uranium One will actually bring down Canadians as well, because I believe there was illegal activity on both sides of the 49th parallel when it came to that. Not only that, but again, I said deflection, right? So, I mean, here's Barack Obama and Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State selling off 20% of the United States' uranium reserves to the Russians, and then turning around and blaming Donald Trump of colluding with the Russians. It doesn't make any sense, but due to Facebook and social media, the idiots just eat it up. So, yeah, I mean, no, it's ridiculous. And what you said about them burning Clinton and Obama, I believe that you're right. She's damaging the whole brand, and she won't go away. There was a caller to the Alex Jones show a couple times now. He calls himself Zach, and he actually got detained by military intelligence after the first time that he called the show. But the last time he called the show, I happened to be listening, and he was saying that what is going to come out is that Barack Obama was not born in the United States, and that elements within the government had moved everything around to get this guy in. He was supposed to be the last one, the one that cemented things for the Democrat Party and turned the United States completely socialist, dare I say communist. And the next shoe to drop is that it's going to be found out that Barack Hussein Obama, his birth certificate was indeed forged.
Oh, God,
and
yeah.
lo and behold, we've gotten new news now that the CIA and other intelligence agencies most definitely hacked Hawaii's health state records in order to insert that information. We've got incontrovertible proof of it now, and that was after Zach had made that call. So, yeah, I think that this is all going to come to a head right away. Night and Day Plumbing says, thanks for that, Mike. I knew they were very small these days, but had no idea if they had migrated. Yeah, there's always been white supremacy groups, but yeah, they're almost non-existent. If I ever heard any kind of racism here in Alberta, it was only because I was out in the oil patch with a bunch of rig pigs, and they said anything that was the worst thing you could say. Okay, if it was about women, if it was sexist, if it was racist, it wasn't because they specifically hated black people or Indians or whatever. They said it because that was the most dirtiest, rotten thing you could say, and we were dirty, rotten people. Okay, that's how we acted. They called us rig pigs for a reason. We would go up north. We would work for 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks in a row on the rig. Then we come back to town. You got 15 grand in the bank, and you haven't seen a woman in a month and a half. So you go nuts and you act stupid. Wound up in the drunk tank way more times than I'd like to relate. But, yeah, I mean, anybody that I heard being racist, it was only just because it was disgusting. And that was why they did it. So, anyhow, back to you, Rhea.
You notice I've got Mike's soapbox mode on the camera. Look, here he goes, and it looks like that. So anyway. Anyway, okay. Let's have a quick look at some of this. Nothing the left says makes sense. That's a fact. Don't even know what they stand for. Right. I've kind of forgotten again because I don't know, because I'm not very good at this. I'm going to pull it back out the rabbit hole a little bit. We'll take some messages in a minute, but I'm going to play the accent to guess the accent, okay? So,
guess the accent. Here we go.
Right, let's just come out the rabbit hole a second. Let's just get our heads above water, then we'll re-emerge in a moment, okay? Right. Where's this guy from? Get your listening ears on. Where's he from? You ready? Go.
And honestly, we don't have an accent. It can be anything, really, I guess. I don't know how I want to explain it or whatever hell. But anyways, this is how it goes. Ant, roof, route, wash, oil, theater, iron, salmon, caramel, fire, water, sure, data, ruin, crayon, New Orleans, pecan, both, again, probably, spitting image, avenue, Alabama.
Where do you think he's from, guys? Put it in the chat. Where do you think he's from? Okay, so we just pulled us out the rabbit hole for a second. Let's take a couple of messages here. Right, I got the last one to Surfer for. Can you take Gary Kemper, please, Mike?
Iraqi nuclear physicist Dr. Jafar Dia Jafar, considered to be the father of Iraq's nuclear weapons program, has been awarded a 35-year lease for cargo container operations at Port Canaveral, Florida. That doesn't sound like a very good idea to me. I mean, if anybody would have an axe to grind with the United States of America, it would be an Iraqi. So, I mean, I don't know too much about this, Gary. This is something I'm going to have to look up after the show. But, I mean, it also sounds par for the course. You know, it sounds par for the course with what they've been doing this whole time. So, you know, and Trump's cleaning it up, but it's a mess.
Okay, and we've got one. He thinks Night and Day thinks it could be in the southern states, maybe Texas. You hear Texas? I don't hear Texas, but hey, okay, that's one. We've got a Texas so far. Okay, any more takers? Where do you think he's from? Just have a stab. Doesn't matter. Right, I'm going to move on to another story here, guys. A predominant doctor who exposed the non-existence of Clinton Foundation promised medical care in Haiti found dead with knife in chest. A well-known surgeon who exposed major inadequacies in medical trauma care promised to the Haitians people by the Clinton Foundation after a non-profit raised over $30 million in donation following devastation in 2010 earthquake, was found dead in his upscale apartment Sunday with a stab wound to his chest. Dr. Dean Lorich, 54, was found lying dead in the bathroom on his bathroom floor of his apartment by his 11-year-old daughter with a knife sticking out of his chest. Is that another one in the Clinton body count, do you think, Mike?
Oh, I think it would be naive to think otherwise. I mean, man, there's so many bodies in the wake of the Clintons. Ever since back in the days in Mena, Arkansas, there was a couple of kids that committed suicide by dismembering themselves and wrapping themselves in a tarp on a set of train tracks. And their parents are still trying to get justice. It was said that they probably came across a midnight drug shipment from the CIA directly to Bill as governor of Arkansas. There's been lots of people. Oh, thanks, Gary. Thank you. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely copy and paste that and check it out after the show. But yeah, there was about 5 people that were looking to expose that Haiti scam. 4 of them are dead now. The 5th one was a woman that appeared on the Alex Jones show and was basically crying and scared for her life, believing that she was next. This is something interesting too, Rhea. We just had a mass immigration of Haitians from the United States of America across the border into Quebec. Now, these Haitians were told that they were going to have to be deported back to Haiti under a deal that was made to bring them over as an aid package after that big earthquake happened where the Clinton Foundation was involved. So there was a hoax message going around on the app WhatsApp. Are you familiar with that one, Rhea?
Sorry, darling, say it again.
The app WhatsApp. Have you ever?
Yeah.
Are you familiar?
Yep.
Yeah, you can send text messages and make calls if you have a Wi-Fi signal with WhatsApp. So there was a message going around on that and on social media that had come from a Clinton Foundation source telling people that the Haitian community, that they were going to be rounded up and have their door kicked in at 3 a.m, which was, resulted in them immigrating into Canada. Now, interestingly enough, at the height of all this, when it was happening, the Clintons were vacationing in Quebec at a location right by where that was happening. Now, it's thought that the Clintons were running a human trafficking operation, and they had to be on the ground near where it was happening, because when you got something like that going on, you've got to be very hands-on with it. So, because those Haitians, remember this, once they come across the border, they're completely undocumented. Okay, so if they go missing, nobody cares because nobody knows. But I just find it very suspect that the Clintons were there. Incidentally, in some of the WikiLeaks emails that were released, Chelsea Clinton was getting on her mom about what was happening in Haiti. She was telling Hillary, "Well, we can't do this. We can't do this. This is wrong." So, Chelsea, the daughter of Webb Hubble, had a conscience attack watching what her parents were doing. So, I don't know if I gave you more of an answer than you were bargaining for, but the Clinton involvement in Haiti, it goes back quite a long time. And not only that, but they were caught child trafficking elements within the Clinton Foundation. They're actually busted. So, there you go.
Okay, yeah, no, I know it goes back a long ways. Just thought I'd bring it up. He was about to break out a story. There was a young girl at the beginning of the year as well. She was, they almost didn't get her in time because she'd already published some of her findings about the Clintons on Facebook. And they were kind of one message too late, and then she was found dead in the Caribbean somewhere or something to do with the child trafficking and all that kind of stuff. Right, let me grab a couple of messages here. Jack says the internet is really slow. Did I miss anything? Yeah, probably. I'll run over the stories. Where did you get to, Jack? Gary Kemper, Mike, here is the thing. My internet. America, anyone associates with the Clintons dies. Yeah, you're not wrong, really. It doesn't look good, does it? And so far for the accents, right, we've got Surfer 4, come on, effort, American. It's a big place, right? Can't we bring it into a county or something?
North, south, or central?
Yeah, just put a pen in or something like that. We've got a Texas and a Florida. Mike, where do you think that access... Do you want to hear it again?
Yeah, but I'm guessing Montana.
Oh, Montana.
Yeah.
Wow, Montana. Let's have that down. Okay, anybody else? Here it comes again. Have a listen. Where is this guy from?
And honestly, we don't have an accent. It can be anything, really, I guess. I don't know how I want to explain it or whatever hell. But anyways, this is how it goes.
Whatever hell.
Ant, roof, route, wash, oil, theater, iron, salmon, caramel, fire, water, sure, data, ruin, crayon, New Orleans, pecan, both, again, probably, spitting image, avenue, Alabama.
Where do you think it's from?
Okay, so there's a few clues there. He said roof. If he was in the South, he would have said roof. I never got that that whole roof thing. Same with step and stoop. I fell off the roof, I landed on the stoop, and I rolled into the creek. Just doesn't sound right. But he said roof, and he said New Orleans. If he was from Louisiana, he'd have said New Orleans. That's how they talk. I'm going to stick with Montana.
So we got a Florida, a Texas, an America. Surfer 4, Montana.
Gary says Whitefish, Montana.
Yeah, okay, Montana, and we've got a Newfoundland. That's pretty.
I don't know about Newfoundland, Hugh. I don't know.
Ooh! Don't start. Canadian at first, but the and a question mark. Dunno. Anyway, right, okay. So we'll have a couple. I'll give you a couple more minutes because we've got to shut down, and then I'll tell you where he's from. Mike, you need something for the doghouse, or do you want to do another story before we shut this thing down?
Well, I just want to say to Hugh, I went and checked my messages, and there's... Oh, wait a minute. My phone just buzzed.
The danger zone.
There we go. Got it. He found something on Reddit. I'm going to check that out. You go ahead and speak while I go and check this out here.
Okay, and we had one from Night and Day saying about... if there was more cryptos on it, you might kind of do better. Really? What crypto? How much are we talking here? Not talking like 5 crypto, like 5 Bitcoin here. What would that be? 2, 4, 6. Yeah, just a bunch of money. Don't even bother with that. Right, I'm going to play the accent one more time, and then I'm going to tell you who it is. Come on in, guys. One more stab. And no, it's not Florida. No, it's not Texas. No. Yes, it's American. It's not Montana, and it's not Newfoundland. Have a listen.
And honestly, we don't have an accent. It can be anything, really, I guess. I don't know how I want to explain it or whatever hell. But anyways, this is how it goes. Ant, roof, route, wash, oil, theater, iron, salmon, caramel, fire, water, sure, data, ruin, crayon, New Orleans, pecan, both, again, probably, spitting image, avenue, Alabama.
I love the way he says Alabama. Really like that. Right, so Cape
You
Breton.
says Cape Breton.
What?
Cape Breton. Cape Breton Island.
Okay, nope. Okay, so he is from Phoebe and Kelly. I don't know if Kelly's still on. I think Kelly may have gone. No guesses, gals, and all that. Anyway, so my second choice is Detroit. Oh, we got a Detroit. Right, no, it's not Detroit.
Justin says Halifax.
Oh, interesting.
Phoebe says Indiana.
Oh, Indiana. Okay. So, good guesses, guys. It's a strong accent, though, isn't it? It is to me, it's a really strong accent. Okay, right. You ready for this? He is from Alberta.
He's from Alberta?
Born and bred.
What part?
Shame on you, mister. Shame on you.
Well, Montana's right below us, okay? We're very similar.
No. Buy some more rabbits. Right, okay. So, yeah, Mike's hometown, apparently. But hey, there you go. It's good to know he listens, right? Okay, so what have you got for the doghouse, Mike? Trailer Park.
Let's go with the Clinton Foundation.
Oh, yeah. In all of you to do with it. Anybody that carries water, anybody that gets near them, just in the doghouse, bitch.
Yeah.
Right, and my one going in. If you want to put something in the doghouse, guys, just drop it in the chat. Probably originally from Newfoundland, Hugh says.
Yeah, we've got a lot of newfies here in Alberta.
Right, we've got Trailer Trash, Trailer Park Boys accent from Jack as well. Thanks for chipping in, Phoebe. Indiana. Don't know too much about Indiana, actually. But there you go.
Well, that's I had family in South Bend, Indiana.
Right.
Indiana has a town called Elkhart where most of the RVs are made for North America.
I like RVs. I think
Yeah.
they're great. Go on. Yeah, moving house. Yeah, I'll do that. Right, okay, so we've got the Clinton Foundation from Mike in the doghouse, and I'm going today with haters. People that just do that hate thing. Hate. And they're not pulling their head out the ground and seeing the woods for the trees going, oh my God, I've been consumed by this hatred. I need to pull back and get something positive going on, you know, because some of them are hardcore scary as well, I've got to say. Right, Mike. So we got haters in the Clinton Foundation. Any of you put anything in the doghouse? Nope. Not a thing, look. Okay. So, oh God, I didn't do all my shout outs. Oh my God, I didn't do any shout outs. How slack is that? Mike, do you want to do your finals?
You know, I think I'm pretty much done here. I want to make a mention of this picture that Hugh sent me. It looks to me like a post on Reddit from. Is this Q Clearance? Is it? It says, "Remember, you retards, Roy will lose the election." Talking about Roy Moore. Doug Jones will be declared the winner of the U.S. Senate special election. He will have more votes than Roy Moore. The multiple fraudulent voting techniques employed to achieve this result are being allowed to occur. They're being documented. The subsequent investigation will reveal the entire Democrat machine. This was put into play long ago. You'll soon know why Jefferson Beauregard Sessions III was installed as U.S. Attorney General. So this individual, under an anonymous post, is saying that Roy Moore was allowed to lose the elections in order that the Justice Department could uncover the voter fraud techniques being used by the DNC. Very interesting. And if this is the case, very cagey. And I welcome this development. Rhea, go ahead.
Okay, Justin Cringe Backup Channel says new cringe video up on my main channel after the show. Nice.
Oh, that's where I'm going.
Check that out, guys. I see one that you made for us as well, which is very cool. So thanks, Jack.
Yeah.
I didn't fill out my finals. Don't forget to do a thumbs up if you like it. Tell your friends. Come and let's make the family big. It's going to be built on trust. Internet hug for all. And like an internet hug. And because I didn't fill out my finals, my website shout outs, I'm going to read what was left over here because Gary liked this as well. I can't say